whatever. Okay, so first off, let's start off with an apology on my part that I was not here yesterday or last week. I had
Schooling.
tests,
Schooling and
and
suffering.
90% of them went well. There was one that did not go well, but that's a whole other topic.
Yeah,
So,
that's something that you just gotta work towards. Hopefully, it all ends up
but
better.
now, but now, we shouldn't have problems, right? Right?
Mm.
Right.
Mm.
Okay. So, now that I say that, my schedule is just gonna be packed. Though, good news though, schedule for news is packed. A lot of stuff has come down the pipeline. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. Actually, it was a little bit of a call if we wanted to talk about Halo or the Game Awards this week. And I thought, well, there's the Game Awards event we can do next week, which is closer to the Game Awards streaming date, and we can talk about the Halo event today. So that gives us content for this week and next week, and that'll work. So the calendar's it's being filled. It's being filled. Still, back to the topic at hand. Halo Infinite. Their multiplayer. It's fun. It's fun, actually. We played. Actually, I played a lot of it yesterday, and Justin's just starting to playing it yesterday night, and today, as you can probably see,
Yep.
his skill level is designated average.
Yeah, I would say like I've played a lot of Halo, so no matter what, every Halo game kind of universally connects with one another. It's just the new special mechanics that makes every Halo game different is going to be the thing that throws you off the edge for a little bit. But that's a later problem.
That's a you problem,
That's a
friend.
me
That
problem.
sounds, that sounds like a you problem. Anyway. And on the note of multiplayer events, or multiplayer, let's talk about the first event, which is called, oh god, I'm gonna butcher this name, and I watch anime. Tenrai event. Tenrai. Hopefully. Of my many pronunciations of that name, I'm hoping one of those was correct. If not, I feel like an idiot, but okay. Um,
Yes. Also, I will say it for what it is. Infinite's ragdolls are nice. I
you just
honestly
get
like the
yeeted across
ragdolls.
the map. So you're probably wondering, is there something to talk about other than the events? Well, yes, there is the first event, and just like any event, there's some already fresh controversy around the event. Yay, fun! What is that specifically? Well, actually, as it turns out, let me just pull up the other one here. I thought I had it pulled up. There we go. Yeah, pulling up my article. Again, both the articles I'm referencing, actually, that's the Polygon article. This one. This one. So, anyways, these two articles from Windows Central, again, linked in the description, have already informed us, as it seems, that despite this event going on for only 1 week, there's actually a weekly cap on the event, which, considering the event itself only runs for a week, kind of is counterintuitive.
Yep. I
Basically,
mean,
according to this.
it's yeah.
Anyways,
According to it.
Hmm?
According to it.
According to it. According to this non-canon event gives players a chance to obtain a ton of samurai-themed gear, as well as the crowning jewel of the whole thing, the samurai-themed armor, which you can earn within the first 5 points. I've actually earned it already due to a lot of grinding that we were kind of doing yesterday. But unfortunately, the progression system that they've revealed for the event is is basically a battle pass, and it's got 30 levels to it, right? And in this game, there are 2 types of battle passes. Well, there is one battle pass already, but it's basically a paid battle pass. So yeah, you can get some like boosters for XP and stuff out of it, but in terms of customization, it's 99% locked behind like buying the pass. which is very much unlike Destiny, where you
Yeah.
can get a good chunk of stuff just by playing
Yeah,
in
just by
general.
simply playing the game, you just constantly get things. Like, it kind of just feels as you play the game and level up, you'll unlock new items and stuff, new things. But
Whereas in this case, all the multiplayer stuff is locked behind either purchases or the pass. So, I
yeah.
mean, say for that what you will. I personally am not against. I'm personally against it, but
Hmm.
especially considering the difference between Destiny and this game is that going to the comparison there, because it's the closest analog I can think of off the top of my head, other than another Halo game,
You know.
which would kind of defeat the purpose because they're made by the same person. Um,
Yeah. No.
but unlike there, where it's like Destiny itself is a nowadays free-to-play game, with the expansions being paid, but the base content itself, including all the cosmetics, these days is free.
Hmm.
Like I can earn cosmetics by just doing shit.
Yeah.
Whereas in this one, a paid game, there's also a paid battle pass alongside it. Well, you could say yes, the multiplayer aspect itself is free, which is what they're monetizing. But considering the game itself is also monetized because you're buying it outright,
Hmm.
it's just multiplayer monetize the game, then monetize the multiplayer after the fact. There's a discussion to be had there, I suspect. However, this is not what we're mostly here to talk about today. We are here to mostly talk about, as I see Elden Ring on my screen, another good game. We'll probably talk about that later when it comes out, next year.
Later.
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 On my agenda of things to do.
Yeah.
Anyways, so the event itself, which is the Fractured Tenrai. I'm not even trying to pronounce it at this point. The event. A lot of samurai themed gear, including the aforementioned samurai themed armor piece, which you can get pretty early on in the tree of this battle pass list. Oh, that's what I was segueing into, the battle pass. So anyways, there's the paid battle pass, and then there is this battle pass which comes with the event, which is on top of the regular one. And this one is all free. So there are 30 free levels you can get. And there's also, like I said, a samurai armor that you can get pretty early on. That's like level 5, I believe. But unfortunately, sadly enough, how you get it is by completing event-specific weekly challenges. Unfortunately, these challenges are mixed in with the already existing weekly challenges. You're probably like, well, why don't you just cherry pick those ones and finish those? You could, if the game didn't give you randomly 4 of them every time.
Yeah. It's all
So basically,
randomized.
to keep the list going, you have to start finishing the ones that are already there. And if you have the battle pass, you also get a 5th slot, which is again another aspect of monetization thrown on top. So it's a bit of it is a pain. But that's not even the controversy. We're not even getting into the controversy yet.
It's not even the fun part.
That's not even the fun part of it all, yeah. Anyways, but each one of these challenges, these event-specific challenges you do complete, if you get the chance to find them, will give you a full level, so you don't have to worry about completing multiple of these challenges. If you just finish one, you'll get a level. So it's not too bad in terms of how that's structured.
There is a nice, easy way of getting about it then.
Yeah, provided you can get to the actual challenge. The event itself is actually running from this week, as of yesterday, the 23rd, November 23rd, to the 30th. However, this event will actually have multiple releases throughout the next year, year, where it'll reappear 2 more times in a total of 3. And your progress from this event will carry over to the next one. So if you can't finish the battle pass, which, considering there's a weekly cap, you won't, don't worry, you can finish it later on.
You still have a chance.
Well, we'll get to that event cap. Speaking of event caps, 343 has placed a event cap, a level cap you can get, where there's only specific progression cap. There's only a specific amount of progression you can do per week on the event, which is not a problem for an event that is multiple weeks. But here's the problem: this is not. Specifically quoting from the Windows Central article, and I quote paragraph. I don't remember. Anyways, once players have run out of event challenges to complete, they'll be unable to progress any further through the Fractures event, or Fractures, name of the event. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it at this point. This round. Instead, players will have to wait until the event pass returns throughout Season 1 of Halo Infinite. 343 has confirmed that the Fractures event pass is going to appear 6 times during Season 1, with the second appearance coming at some point in January 2022. So,
There you go.
if you want all this stuff, you're going to have to start grinding for this whenever they bring this stuff back. You can already tell they're trying to find ways to keep people in the multiplayer. It's pretty fucking obvious, I'd imagine. Oh yeah, it's also confirmed, this article goes on, it's also confirmed that tier skips do not work. Meaning players cannot spend real-world money to progress to the end without completing challenges, which, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, honestly. I mean, yeah, it does mean you have to continue through gameplay to get this stuff, but on the other hand, it's a lot of fucking gameplay.
It is.
So in a way, it's good, not good.
It's got its things. It's got its perks.
If you find a challenge that's too difficult, you can still use a challenge swap to replace it with something else, however.
There you go. So you can kind of switch in and out of certain challenges if it's getting too hard.
However, admittedly, I don't know if you'll get another event challenge for that, or just another one of the weekly challenges you haven't done yet. I hadn't tried it myself because I was too busy focusing on getting the armor to risk it. So, take that with a grain of salt. You might actually end up trying to swap your event for another event and just end up getting a regular instead for a weekly challenge. So, now you have to go and grind through weekly events again until another challenge for the event appears in your list. So,
Yep.
Now, unfortunately, this article, I just realized, sadly, doesn't actually specify what the limit is. However, I believe from reading it somewhere else, unfortunately, I do not have a source I can quote immediately from this one, sadly, because I'd have to dig another one up and then have to link it right in the article, which just didn't work. But you're just going to trust me on this one. I believe I read somewhere that it is up until rank 7 that you can do in this week. And the armor itself that you can get, the real prize of the event, is level 5. So you can get the armor this rotation.
There you go.
If you grind for it, admittedly.
If you're quick enough and all that.
Well, I mean, you do have until the 30th this week, so...
You've got a little bit of time, just not a lot.
Yeah, you got a little bit of time. That said, it is interesting to find that they're doing all this stuff together. That you can clearly tell that they're trying to keep people in the game already, with these weekly event caps and stuff like that, and the battle pass, and I mean, the old a lot of people complain that nowadays, the way you earn rewards, especially things like Halo these days, are more paid than they are gameplay. Where back in the day, where if you wanted to earn something, you had to actually go and earn it, which could be very difficult. However, there's also this way of doing it, which almost feels intrusive, because now they're like, well, if you want this, you're gonna have to play, but only for this specific window of time.
Yeah, you've only got a really small point in time to get it.
Which is a bit of a, well, it is actually very much a pain, because...
I mean, it's kind of the same thing with the Master Chief Collection, where they'll rotate out some of the game modes that people like to play, but you shouldn't really be doing that, because if you're doing that, then you're going and limiting what people can actually play and what they might enjoy to play the most.
Like, I can see game modes getting rotated out, but when it comes to, event stuff, they're like, okay, you can only do this event for 1 week at a time. It'll appear 8 times, but there's also a progression cap, which
Yeah.
kind of makes it even worse because then you're like, well, I can't just like sit down over a week and grind the entire thing out. You have to wait until it comes back again, and who knows if you'll not be busy during that week and stuff like that. It really is a crapshoot.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be very messy.
Like, I can understand limited time event goods. Like, that's by no means new in this industry, though. There's
No,
another
no.
conversation to be
Like
had if that's right or not. But
yeah, there's a lot of reward that players go and feel that they've earned when they've gone and like worked really hard to earn something that was limited time that nobody else is going to be able to get at least
yeah,
anytime
no.
soon.
Yeah, I can see the whole like appeal behind that. However, doing it in this way where it's like, okay, you'll do it. There's 8 times where it'll appear, but there's a weekly cap or a progression cap every time. And
Hmm.
since the event is only, takes place for a week each time, basically you only have a certain point you can go the entire event in general. Once you hit that cap, you might as well just stop playing because you're not going to get any more for this rotation of the event.
Yeah.
Speaking of the event, also, I should probably throw in here on the side. They've actually 343 has confirmed there's actually also a specific reward that you can get for just playing during this first rotation, which is actually the symbol of the event, the kind of like cracked ring that appears with the samurai helmet inside.
Hmm. Yeah.
You can actually get that as a back piece for your nameplate, which isn't a big incentive, but hey, it's something.
It is certainly something.
So more incentive to play this week, but again, there's the whole thing of like, hey, you only got until, I don't know, like I said, I think it was rank 7 before you can't go any further. This entire rotation of the event, which, I mean, considering there's 30 levels in the battle pass.
Yeah. You know, a few problems here and there. Few hiccups along the way.
And it wouldn't be so bad if you could actually see those event challenges separate from your regular weekly challenges, so you could just do them straight off. It wouldn't be that bad in that case. It'd be like, okay, fine, whatever, just grind these out the first day and then you're fine. But the way they did it is that they mixed it in with your pool of weekly challenges. So basically, and you can only see about 4 of these weekly challenges at a time, and 5 if you have a battle pass. Yes, they give you an extra slot just for finding the battle pass. Again, however, that means whenever you like have to go, you have to basically grind through weekly challenges until eventually one of these event challenges comes up,
Hmm.
and then do it there, and then rinse and repeat. Luckily for me, I was lucky enough to get 2 event challenges on my thing the first run, or on my first boot up of the game of the event. So I was able to get 2 of the 5 ranks for the towards the armor knocked off right there. However, I was lucky. Plus, there's this whole conversation to be had about the actual challenges they're asking you to do for the event. Like, one of the challenges that some people are actually complaining about is in some cases, they're not easy. For example,
No.
one of them is kill a guy or end a guy who's on a kill streak.
I mean, it's possible. It's not impossible, but you know.
It's not impossible, but kids, if they're on a kill streak, you're probably going to get added to the total. Though then again, in Halo Infinite, it's a lot more, I don't want to say balanced than, certainly a lot more balanced than Destiny because there's no abilities running around.
Hmm.
But, most people tend to not last, I find, in these game modes long enough to get a kill streak.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't.
You have to get a good, match where there's actually someone who survives long enough to get a kill streak.
Yeah.
And then you have to get to them before they get to either you or someone else gets to them. So
You know, someone doesn't get like a sudden rocket launcher and bombard them.
honestly, yeah. So, some of these events aren't easy. I was able to complete that one, thankfully, but it is a challenge. It is a challenge, and I can see why some people are like, not a good idea. But yeah, the event so far is been mixed, like I said. I personally hope they don't go about this into the future for events, because obviously they're gonna have more events in Halo Infinite. It's just a bloody guarantee at this point, I think.
Hmm.
And while I want to say I hope they don't do this formula again for events, I think it's pretty clear they probably will. If not, they most certainly will. But you never know, they might change up how they do events later on because of how negative this was, but then again, I don't see that happening.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. The event's not terrible, but I don't like the. I really don't like the formula of going and limiting game modes that people like. I mean, I'll say this: the reason why they limited game modes in the Master Chief Collection is because people would go to certain game modes and be able to level up extremely fast because of them. At that point, you should probably just limit the amount of XP you gain from them instead of going and giving massive amounts.
Well, that would probably piss people off even more, so I can probably think this is a better solution. I never thought I'd say that, but I think I agree with their solution here.
Yeah, but either way, I mean, I don't enjoy going and limiting game modes, because that just goes and limits the amount of things that you can play and do.
Whatever. I mean, not to discredit your opinion, but I mean, like... I mean, I could see why they did that.
Yeah,
like,
no, like, it's understandable. It is.
Like when it's come like the solution they had was probably we could either limit the XP or we can limit the game modes. Well, if we limit the XP, that's gonna piss people off regardless. Whereas game modes might be 50-50, so they probably had a lot better of an incentive to go with the game modes.
Yeah.
Plus, I can almost see why they do that because, like, for example, one of the things you were complaining about, like yesterday, was the quick play feature because we were playing together yesterday, him and I.
Yes. I seriously don't like the idea of just you hit a button, oh, someone just left in the middle of the match and their weapons just plopped on the floor.
I think that might actually be crashing because I don't know if
no, that's a legitimate thing. When you leave the game, you just suddenly disappear, and it's so funny when you're at the intro screen.
You're just like clunk. Yeah. Throne just clunk. But yeah.
But pretty much, yeah, I don't like the idea of like you hit a button and you're only limited by X number of games and you can get like a random game, but you might not even get the game mode that you wanted, so you might end up getting like a game mode that you really hate.
Yeah, no, I can see that, but I can also see why they did that. Like, I can sympathize with both sides here, where it's like, hey, I want to play, for example, only Slayer. Okay. Or you want to say, oh, I want to play only Capture the Flag. Okay. But here's the thing. With the way it is right now, they might be thinking that since most people are probably going to want to play this perhaps on a higher tier PC or Xbox Series X where the graphics are probably better, they're probably going to wait, which means they're not going to get a large pool of people probably also playing the multiplayer early on too.
Yeah.
Which means that there's going to be, if like, oh, I only want to play Slayer, cool, the Slayer list will be full, but everything else will be empty.
Empty, yeah. No, that I can understand. But real quick, that's kind of why you add in a random feature, like a random game feature. Like, just give the ability to pick a random game in the first place.
I mean, there is a discussion to be had there, I suppose, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, no matter what, like, I like the idea of being able to select a game mode where it's like, ah, yes, I'm in the mood for Capture the Flag today, or ah, yes, I'm in the mood for like team deathmatch or vehicle manslaughter, like.
Yeah, that was another thing you were very pleased about yesterday. There's actually another list just for massive maps with a lot of vehicles. And
it's also random though. Sometimes you might get it Capture the Flag, sometimes you won't. So
it is also random, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like bad though. I mean, no matter what, I can get behind it. It's not terrible. It's just I'm not.
To be honest, I can agree with you when it's like, yeah, it's not the greatest solution in the world. I can see that, but I can also see and understand why they did that.
I mean, it does make it so that at least every game mode is being played. Like
Yeah,
there
and that
is
there is
that.
not people who are short on a match where it's like,
Yeah, they're just kind of
hey, I'll play
sitting
it
around for like 30 minutes. Like, yes,
waiting
do
for
I
a
get it?
match.
Do I get a match or not?
Yeah, they're just like, here, you're a bunch of people waiting. Here, go with this guy and play this match. It's an interesting solution, and it's not the worst solution in the world, but there is a discussion to be had on if that's, everyone's cup of tea. I mean, clearly, as our editor shows, the answer is no. But, I mean, it's, hey, do you want to have the choice of, playing what you want whenever you want and risk not having a match for 30 minutes, or not have the choice to play whatever you want but never really have to worry about how long it is before you're waiting for someone to play with you because it's just whoever
Immediate.
else is in the waiting room
Yeah.
that they just throw with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, what do you trade off for?
Yeah. I mean, no matter what, like, it is a system that is guaranteed to work, that every game will be played, and there won't be, like, games of people just kind of sitting around. And God, do I suck at the sniper.
You're still playing sniper. I'm not watching this stream because I'm watching
No,
this.
I'm going back and forth.
What
like,
did we talk about yesterday?
what do you
the
mean?
sniper. They're not worth it.
I mean, I did good with the
Apply
sniper
Destiny
rifle.
logic.
Well, no, I did good with the sniper rifle. It's just, I need to work on my aim. That and the bot's jerky movement doesn't help. I don't want to. I don't want to play a full scale game because I know I'm gonna get loud if I do that.
Here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. We were playing yesterday, right? And in fairness, I can keep up with people who play multiplayer in Halo, I found. I can at least keep up with them for the most part.
Yeah,
Years of playing Destiny has probably helped me with that a lot.
Yeah.
In fact, it's arguably a lot easier than playing Destiny, which is probably why I did a lot better.
Yeah, it's a little easier to play Destiny because, I mean, no matter what, everyone is limited by a like, slot. There's no random weapon pickups or anything.
I mean, even then, it's like, for example, in Destiny, you've got people who have, like, their favorite gun, which throws off everything. You've got god rolls. You've got the current meta, which, admittedly, you do have to some degree here, but, I mean, with the way they're limiting weapons, it's like, you always spawn in. Okay, for those who don't know, whenever you play quick play, it usually works like this. You spawn in, and you have the assault rifle, which I'm going to call it an assault rifle because I don't remember the full name. Sorry, lore editor.
Well, no, it'd be the assault rifle. It's always been the assault.
And you start off with the pistol as well.
Yeah.
Which I do remember they call the sidekick in this one officially. That's what you start off. Everyone starts off with baseline, so you don't have to worry about someone coming in with a god roll master gun with like 16 pure perks that just one hits everybody.
Like that one person who went and spent 10 hours going and grinding for that one god roll just so that they could max it out.
Exactly, that one taps everybody the second it's fired.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about that here. And then you basically can switch out weapons throughout the map because there are a bunch of like boxes that hold weapons throughout the map, and you can swap out, but every time you die you restart with your base weapon, so you don't carry them over after death. So if you get a plasma sword, use it now.
Yeah, use it while you can before you either die or, time runs out.
Yeah. So,
and besides, when it comes to Halo logic, always use the weapon before the enemy team gets the chance to pick it up. Like, even if it's a waste, it's better to use a power weapon. That way the enemy team doesn't have the ability to use it. So, yeah, I mean, that kind of logic works better for a rocket launcher. But energy sword is kind of the moment it drops, it's dibs.
I mean, in this one, I find the energy sword is powerful, but it's not unlike.
Yeah,
like,
there's no real strong
game-breaking meta.
Yeah, it's not as strong as what it would be in other Halo games where you
could just run around and just ding ding.
Well,
ding,
no,
ding.
it's not even that. It's the fact. Well, I mean, yes, that, but it's the fact that like you can't look at someone from a distance away and just kind of lunge at them and hit them. Like a lot of Halo games have had that, and in this one, that's not really a thing.
You can kind of do that, but
it's a little bit of a lunge, but it's very close. Like you have to be
it's very close.
Like something
so it's not like
compared to Reach, Halo 3, and I think also Halo 5. Those three, it was very unforgiving with the range. Like you didn't have to be that close, but you could be close enough, and you'd just lunge right at someone.
Though I will say there is that has been replaced in this game by the new meta of the gravity hammer, which you don't have to be close at all to kill.
Though
Because
the hammer has a really long wind up speed.
it does have a little bit of a log wind up speed. So if you're not careful, you can get knocked down before you can even hit
Like
the ground with the thing.
it's not like Halo 3 Gravity Hammer where it was like the moment you hit the trigger is the moment it immediately
Bang!
slammed.
Smack the thing down, yeah.
It's like seize movement, bang, dead.
Exactly. So, there is a little bit of a push and pull here. It's not game breaking meta like it would. Like if by playing the game, I can't off the top of my head say this is the one weapon you always need to get.
Yeah.
Like because there really is no meta I can see, which admittedly is how a shooter should perfectly be balanced because
Yeah,
there
like
shouldn't be a
no
meta.
matter what, Halo has always had the gameplay style of map is balance. The balance of the game is based off of the balance of the map. So weapon positioning and everything like that determines how the game feels and how balanced the game will be.
Right, right.
So that's a always guaranteed good balance because the devs only really have to just balance weapon placement.
Weapon placement and the weapons themselves are just whatever's in the current game. So,
Yeah.
but then you have to balance that with multiplayer too, which I've actually found they did really well. But there are some weapons that are a little on the weaker side, but they're not, broken. Like same thing with strong weapons too. So, unlike Destiny, where a lot of people are like, depending on what class you tend to play, will depend on what side of the argument people will have, and the newest weapons people will bitch about, and da 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 da, which is always amusing to watch, but is a nightmare for the devs of D2. In the case of Halo, when you're walking into Halo thinking, I need to deal with balance, you won't. Assault rifle, pistol, everything else is free play. You got 2 grenades, go nuts. So, and the armor, while it does look fun and everything, has nothing to do with like defensive stats or anything either. Again, unlike Destiny, which people will min-max their armor, where it's like you'll run into a Titan with 100 Brazilians, so even a point-blank rocket launcher, he does not die.
Yeah. Yeah, well, resilience be like
Oh, you're sitting there, you're like, yeah,
resilience be a bee.
He took a while to be like, no, yeah, that's true.
It's like that is exactly it. It is pure suffer.
Very true. I still like the multiplayer in PvP in Destiny, but in fairness, I like this one a lot more. It's not hard
It's
to see
a
how
lot
this became.
a lot more forgiving because it's not 100% skill. It's also like, what do you have with you?
But it's also not like, hey, I can just spam my ability or
Yeah.
my class's broken ability, because there really is no broken ability. Well, I mean, there are abilities, yeah, but you have to pick those up. And if you want that ability, just kill the guy who has it and take it. So,
Yeah.
it's not, So it is not a bad multiplayer, all things considered.
Yeah.
We
No,
had
it's
issues.
definitely, yeah. Well, I mean, when it comes
I
to
mean,
this,
well,
when it comes
a
to
little
this
more
game,
trying to
it's
play
it's
together.
whatever. You're not really gonna be able to get perfect balance.
Admittedly, though, we're trying to set it up yesterday, right?
Hmm.
And it was a bit of a pain because, well, I don't know. Should I tell them your thing kept having issues?
Yeah, basically, when I first loaded up Halo Infinite, I had just downloaded it yesterday. I had just loaded it up, and for some reason, I don't know why, but it just kept crashing. For some reason, the game just kept crashing. I couldn't load a game. I couldn't do anything. So I don't know what was going on, but it just kept crashing. And then when I restarted my computer, everything was fine. So I don't know. I mean,
So word to the wise, if you're gonna, I guess
yeah,
the moral
if
of
you
the story
install Halo Infinite, just make sure you take a second to, like, actually
maybe it might be safe to just restart your computer
Yeah,
after that and everything.
restart your computer. Make sure everything's set up and done.
Because I don't know. Though I will say one thing: the multiplayer menu feels almost. Maybe I don't want to say too simplistic. Empty is probably the word I want to say, and that's probably because they're trying to simplify it as much as possible. It's just this, play. But that makes the menu almost feel empty, like there's nothing to do. Like, sure, I can keep rotating in and out of, like, quick play and stuff like that, but maybe I'm just not a PvP junkie who enjoys that kind of thing. Like, this is kind of like why I say, like...
Yeah, that's
like,
the
well,
big
like,
thing with the multiplayer when it comes to Halo, is, like, it is PvP junkie, like, guaranteed. Like, if you're not a PvP junkie, you're not gonna enjoy it as much. You might be able to enjoy it still, but you certainly will not be able to enjoy it that much.
Like, that's, like, I could do... I think, like, I'll say, like, I could do, like, competitive, like, PvP for money and stuff like that. Like, I'd happily do, like, teams and stuff like that, but if it's like, hey, you only have, like, things like, I don't know, in the case of things like, and, you know, off the top of my head, you have, like, TF2 or, what's the one I'm thinking of? Not Warzone, but,
Oh, that is...
Siege.
Yeah, real quick, speaking of the gravity hammer, holy crap, is that thing overly, like, forgiving. I was around a corner and the guy killed me.
Yeah, it can be. I mean, I think I figured it out. It'll kill you in proximity to it if you're just on the ground. I think if you jump, you might be able to avoid the, like, gravity aspect. I think that's a thing. Though I haven't had the chance to test it out. Because every time someone sees me, it's already too late, typically.
It's too late.
But, yeah. What was I on about? Oh, yeah. Yeah. If it's things like, you know, Siege or Fortnite or stuff like that, I don't know how people could just replay that over and over and over and over and over again. Like, I feel like that would just get dull after a while.
Yeah, I mean, interestingly
if there were a
enough,
cash incentive, sure,
real quick, interestingly enough, I found when it came to when it came to, like, things like battle royales, the reason why people keep going back to them is because of the fact that, like, you're not guaranteed to win. You can very much lose, and it's because of because of the fact that you can lose is the reason why people keep coming back, for those chances that they don't, like, they actually do win.
Well, isn't that every multiplayer? To some degree. I feel perpetual suffering over this mic, and sadly I'm too busy. Well, I'm not reading these articles, so I could hop on, but I feel like by the time I get on, we'd have to end the video because it would be...
Yeah, we're already a good few minutes in.
Well,
So
yeah. Later.
Later.
But yeah, there is this whole, you know, there is, like, again, I could do, like, if there were, like, a competitive thing for money and stuff like that, but if they're like, hey, you can only play multiplayer in general, I'd be like, that would just get boring after a while. I'm not a PvP junkie. I'll play PvP just fine, and I don't mind playing it. It's just, I'll pick things like story stuff over that any day because there's something to do. There's some story to follow. There's some plot to keep me interested instead of just, see that guy, shoot that guy. Rinse and repeat 100 times. It's basically killing smarter ads.
Basically. Ads that can move around.
Ads that can probably swear over you over the mic, too.
Yeah.
I haven't had that, though, yet happen. Well, it's a multiplayer, so we'll see. The angry 6-year-old who swears to delete my Roblox account.
I'll delete it. You can't stop me. I will delete you.
Deleted? Oh my gosh. But yeah, that's the overview, my bad, of the current multiplayer and the first event. So if you want to get in now, because this first rotation only lasts until the 30th this week, November 30th, so grind for that grind for that samurai armor while you can. In fairness, I will admit it does look pretty badass.
I don't know. I ain't the samurai
Okay,
armor
maybe I'm
for.
just a weeb, so shut up.
Well, it's not that. It's just I'm not really feeling the samurai armor for Spartan. I mean, I could get maybe a medieval knight, but nah. Like even for those medieval armors that you could find in MCC, I'm not even a big jump into that either.
I mean, it's not terribly designed.
They're not
It does have
bad. No,
some-
like they have good design. They are very well designed. It's just not my thing.
Not
Not
your
my
thing?
style. Not my style.
Fair enough. I mean,
Yep.
I think it looks nice.
No, they do look nice. A lot of the well, not all, but there's a lot of like fancy armors for both Infinite and MCC that are like really nicely designed. So 343's got like a good design team for those.
So it's good to see they have something that's nice.
Yeah.
And the graphics obviously look very pretty. Or very beautiful. I'm sure you probably can't tell on our editor's screen because I'm
I
sure he has
mean,
everything
I
turned down
have-
to potato mode.
I have at least most of the decals set to medium. Alright? The only reason why I put everything on the lowest setting at the beginning is because I wanted to get a feel of the game and know exactly how much my computer can handle whilst being able to perform at the best. I prefer performance over detail.
Well, okay, then take my word for it because I always say I can't look at our editor's screen while I'm doing this because I'm typically
I
reading
mean,
the
even at the
articles.
lowest settings, it still looks nice. Like I have medium for details and stuff, and it still looks nice. So there's that.
But it is a very pretty game.
Yes.
Don't be fooled by what our editor's our editor's graphic quality is.
Hey, I'm just saying, it still looks very nice even at the lower settings.
Try to like, hey, not my fault, not my fault.
You can't stop me.
All right. So there we go. I think we've covered the overview. We've covered our opinions on the multiplayer. We've covered our opinions on the event. The event itself is interesting. I believe there's either 2 or 7 more times where this event will come back in. I believe on the actual Infinite thing itself, it says that there's another 2 times this event will come in, which you can actually see on their thing. I can't remember the dates off the top of my head, I'm sorry. But there are at least 2 more, and this thing says 7, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it is only like there is a 30 ranks in this battle pass, and I believe if I remember reading, you can only get 7 per week or 7 during this week, and I feel like that'll be a concurrent thing. So 7 this week, 7 next time, 7, 7, 7. So do the math, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, thank heavens! A long-range weapon.
Take down your target.
So,
30 seconds remaining.
the multiplayer is good. The event structure is questionable at best, but
What are you gonna do?
what are you gonna do, right?
Yep.
So there you go. Agenda for next week, most likely. We'll be talking about the, provided nothing big comes down, like, EA, files for bankruptcy or something like that. Then we'll cover that. But, hey, I can always hope.
Jun himself would be impressed.
Actually, with the way things are shaking out, well, no, EA might. And then Activision will just go under because of legal issues. Just get ordered to disband by the courts at this rate.
We're done.
Man,
Goodbye.
Man, if you monitor the stuff that's going on with Activision Blizzard right now, there are lawsuits going at them like all over the place between government investigations and lawsuits. It's a big freaking mess. I think the CEO of Blizzard stepped down already a while back. Yeah, I think J. Allen Brack stepped down a while back, I think, if I remember correctly.
Something ain't right.
Which-
Something don't
which
feel
I mean-
right.
Which, I mean, he was an asshole anyway, if memory serves, so
Yeah, what
not
you
a
do?
terrible loss. But, yeah.
Targets. 30 seconds
I think it'll probably play out like this: EA will file for bankruptcy, and Activision will be ordered to disband by the courts. So, if they don't completely go under due to the legal trouble and legal issues, and like I said, well, then again, they've got a lot of money. I doubt the legal issues will cost them much of it. Well, at least monetarily speaking.
Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2.
But yeah. So agenda for next week, we'll probably talk about the Game Awards. The nomination list was revealed a few days back, and the Game Awards, I believe, official account released a video from like Keeley going over the whole thing. The actual Game Awards will be streamed on the 9th. So, like I said, next week, expect us to talk about that in the week before.
Yeah.
It was either that or this week, and I'm like, well, might as well cover this so we have something to do. So.
Well, I mean, news is news, and Halo Infinite is got a lot of news at the moment, so. Though, I think we might be doing some Destiny news soon enough.
Oh, yes. Actually, I should also probably say, we've done, what's it been, 3 videos for Halo in a row? So, I think we might try to shelve Halo for at least 3 to 4 weeks. Just to let it rest for a minute, because we've been doing this. I mean, we'll get back to this if anything big happens, but if there's nothing big, we'll try to shift away from it, because I have nothing against Halo. It's just I don't want to be known as a Halo channel. It limits my content options here. Limits our content portfolio, which can be problematic, especially considering I'm the entire R&D division, which will make my life a living hell.
Yeah, well, you know.
It may not look like it, but the editor here gets the easy job. He just...
I mean, I'm streaming, so... Also, I edit the videos.
Okay, he handles the videos, and I handle R&D for our videos, which can sometimes be a bit of a nightmare.
Fun. Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained?
Do you not feel it? No.
Anyways, so look forward to that next week. We'll be talking about the nominations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And with all Game Award announcements, there's already people saying that this game got snuffed and that game got snuffed and yada yada yada. Because they didn't get mentioned as much as they should have, or yada yada yada. Sometimes you agree with them, sometimes you don't. I know one thing. There is a lot of... Well, I mean, last year there was a lot of controversy surrounding the Game Awards because of Last of Us Part 2, which basically was the only thing at the Game Awards, practically speaking.
You know.
Despite being, I believe I can say this with a lot of certainty, universally reviled. Yet it walked away with a good chunk of the awards, as well as the Game of the Year awards. Like, it felt like watching the Oscars, for God's sake. Where it's like one movie, despite its credence of being a good movie, still gets like every Oscar. And then like between Best Director, or Best Picture, or Best Actor. Just because its director, I don't know, is white and old. I don't know.
Well done.
I'm not even kidding. That like people say, like when you bet on the Oscars, that's usually how it works. For some reason, pictures that are directed by people who are like white and old tend to get all the awards, whereas like pictures that are like from any other race that are not white vaguely get mentioned these days. That's what I hear. That's what I hear. That may not be right.
Don't worry.
But that's what I hear.
Don't worry. Just let the depression seep in. Just let it seep in.
That almost felt like what it was last year with the Game Awards, though. I hope it won't be this year, because there's actually a pretty mixed pool this time, and there's no games that are universally reviled and steeped in controversy this time. So, yay? I don't know.
Yes. Well, before we go, I'm gonna.
Well, I'll save that topic for next week, though.
Well, before we go, though, I will say this. I think the Spartan program for Infinite is a continuation of the Spartan program that you saw in Halo 5, and I think also Halo 4 as well, where it's being run by June, you know, that one Noble team member who just kind of dipped.
What, really? He became the director?
Yes. I think June. Well, that's how it works in the story, at least for the beginning of the Spartan program, at least in Halo 4 and I believe Halo 5, where at the very beginning it was being run by June because he was offered the chance after, helping Halsey escape, and because Halsey escaped, he escaped too because there was no real reason for him to stay.
I heard
Unlike
which one of the noble team was involved in the terrorist stuff later on?
what do you mean?
I can't remember if I think it was after because most of them died at the end of Reach.
Yeah, it's like pretty
Or
much
before, I mean.
yeah, pretty much
But
every Noble Team member. Oh wait, are you talking about like taking down special targets and stuff?
no. I
No.
believe one of them because of the stuff that they. I think it was actually June. He was like he went and ran with a few insurgents for a while after his thing.
Hmm. Interesting.
I think.
Maybe. I mean, I'll be honest, I could actually see why a Spartan would run with the insurgents for a little bit, especially a Spartan 3 after Reach, because literally the Spartan 3s were kind of just thrown at the Covenant and wasted, and they were all killed
Kind of
because
like
they were all just
kind
treated.
of like the clones.
Yeah, like the Spartan 3s
Basically
are meant to
clones.
be like special forces, and they were just kind of thrown like basic infantry, and it's like you just wasted this entire army for nothing. I mean,
All those
keep
years of genetic
keep.
experiments
I
and
mean,
suffering for
keep
fucking
in
nothing.
mind. No, but keep in mind. I mean, this is the Covenant we're talking about. They kind of just go all out with everything, anyways. But
I mean, they did
still,
glass 90% of they did glass a good chunk of the planet, so
yeah, like the
probably just had
point
a spike too.
stands, but still, I mean, there comes a point where like you keep throwing the Spartans at an objective, and it's like clearly this planet has already lost. You should be focusing on purely evacuation.
Getting people out,
Like
but
you should just focus on evacuation, defend, and push back if push away if you have to. If you give land if you have to. You should just focus on escape and get as many Spartans out as possible, because you're better off winning another battle rather than trying to win a battle is already lost.
I mean that's kind of the same thing they say in like Star Wars when it comes to the Clone Wars. Like
Yeah, well,
they had like a
the main
massive army going into the
yeah, but the
the
main
second
main
movie.
difference between the clone army and the Spartan army, especially the Spartan 3s, is although the Spartan 3s were pretty much the easiest to mass produce at the time.
Considering, I mean, then
Yeah,
again, there's a lot of
there's this thing called clones where you can make literally like over 1,000 clones per batch, and maybe be lucky to get like 100 Spartans per Spartan 3 batch.
Well, I was
So
referring to like production numbers. I was referring to
yeah,
the fact that like the fact is they had this
they were just
like
treated as
massive army at like the second battle, but
just
but during the Battle of Genos, they just kind of kept hurling them at and left, and I
well,
think
I
lost
mean
like
the
25% to 50% of their army.
well, I would say though, real quick, the Battle of Geonosis, the very first Clone Wars battle, was more of just a, all right, let's see what they can do. Like literally, even the clones were like, just throw us in. We want to. They want they were ready for battle. It's just they didn't know what to expect. But after the Battle of Geonosis, everyone knew what the droids were capable of. So the clones were much more refined after that. Like it was kind of like it was kind of like that thing that we've talked about a lot, where it's like you just throw soldiers into a battle that they're not going to escape, but you'll get a bunch of intel out of. Like that was basically the first Battle of Geonosis, just a big massive test to see what the droids were capable of, and well, pretty obvious what they're capable of.
Like,
Soldiers
so
of
what
the
were
same
they capable of?
degree.
Well, we lost 50% of the army, so a lot.
It's like soldiers of the same degree. Only difference is you can go and cut them in half, and they'd still be walking forward as long as you cut off the legs. And even if you
Yeah.
cut off the legs, likelihood
They'll
is
just crawl towards you.
well, not even that. Likelihood of even if you cut off the legs will keep moving even though there's no body. So
just two like don't just 2 feet going at you.
oh,
But yeah, there you go.
well,
I mean, there's also the whole fact that the Spartan 3s were produced or no, that's the Spartan 3 I'm thinking of.
Yeah, Spartan
Through
basically like
human
the Spartan.
trials and
Well,
everything else,
no,
and war crimes.
no, that's the Spartan twos. That's the Spartan
Oh no,
twos.
what's the twos?
Yeah,
Okay, you're right.
the twos were basically the major war crimes. The Spartan threes were like hand selected. All right, you're a good candidate. You're a good candidate. You're a good candidate. Would you like to go into the program? And it's like yes or no. Like even I think how it worked is Buck. I think originally was meant to be a Spartan 3, but it didn't work out for him, and then he became a Spartan 4. I don't know. I really don't know how it worked for Buck. It just feels weird how it's like I think how it worked is he was meant
No,
to
I
be a
think
Spartan
Buck was
3.
always ODST. And
No,
then
no, I
eventually
think
became Super
no, I
Techno, so-
honestly believe it was meant he was meant to be a Spartan 3, then the augmentations didn't fully enhance him that much, so instead he became an ODST because he still wanted to fight. And then when the Spartan 4
just a
program
jacked ODST.
kinda. And then when the Spartan 4 program came in, it was like, "Oh, I can actually get enhancements now. All right, here we go."
Yeah,
That's the
probably
one
because they
thing
had
that I
higher
don't
tech advantage.
100% like about the Spartan 4 program, but I mean it does make sense that like literally anyone can be enhanced now. It's not just like
I mean, that
selected
would make sense
few.
from a. I mean, it would make sense from a military and economic standpoint because if they can
Yes.
increase their pool of candidates, they can increase their
Well,
soldier
it's
count.
not even that. It's the main fact that like over time the program would be more and more refined where it's like, all right, we're not limited by genome anymore. We're just limited by manpower. Like
Yeah. Once they refine the
it
science.
logically makes sense that over time the program will go and refine itself, but we're going now into lore, and I don't know
Yeah,
if the
probably.
audience will
You're
handle
not here
that.
to hear us. This is a news channel, not a lore channel. Go to
We-
the other channel for
We
that.
we can do
Start another channel just for
lore
lore.
videos another day, but not today.
That's another potential avenue for our expansion later on down the line. But anyways, we've rambled on I think for 10 minutes about the lore. Sorry for that. But whatever. We'll probably continue this discussion after this, but whatever.
What are you gonna do? Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed.
Yeah. I was gonna say the outro, but you butchered it last time, so bye.
What do you mean you butchered it?
I heard the last video, but
What are you gonna do?
anyways. Alright, anyway. In the words of Red Rain, I'm pulling for you. We're all in this together. Good night.